Hi, my name is Ometere, and you're welcome to my channel. Today, I will be sharing with you my birth story. This is the first time I will be officially telling this story, so I'm feeling quite nervous and also excited. Anyways, without wasting any time, let's throw it back to 2024 when the journey began.
Hi guys. Um, so I have been very sick for like the past 1 week, and today I decided to take a pregnancy test since my period hasn't come. It's not like it's late though. My period isn't late. Is it late? No, I think I still have until next week. Um, but I just want to take the test because I'm kind of anxious. Meanwhile, I will still be going to the hospital later today because I went yesterday, but they didn't attend to me. They couldn't attend to me. They had an emergency and they asked me to come back today. But they already took my sample, my blood sample. So I guess I would be going for review and I would finally know what is wrong. But before then, I'm just thinking that I should check in the house. So let's go take it. Just check. I think I have malaria. I'm not, and I'm not pregnant. We're just going to let you read. So, one line negative, two lines positive. So we're going to wait to see if we're going to get two lines. You see? Oh my god, I'm scared. Jesus Christ. Is this how it feels? Don't. You done? Two ends. Means positive, one line means negative. Oh, so that was your breakfast? Yeah. Ooh. Really, I don't know if I should be happy. Why shouldn't you be happy? I don't know. Ooh. Oh. I don't know. Why shouldn't you be happy? I'm happy, I'm just. Mm. Is this good news? Straight news. This family should continue to grow and move from glory to glory in the name of Jesus. Amen. The blessings and protection is upon this household. Your grace is upon us. Your mercy is upon us. Okay. Okay. I'm shy. Why are you shy? Okay. Because somebody else been drinking it. I can't wait to find out if I'm going to have twins. By the way, guys, I have been praying for twins all my life. I want to have twins, a boy and a girl. So it would be crazy to have twins, right? But yeah, we will find out when. I don't know what month you're going to find out what you're going to give birth to. Congratulations to us.
So in January of 2024, I had found out I was pregnant. I had taken a test at home which confirmed that I was pregnant. Before I took the test at home, we went to the hospital the previous day. By we, I mean my husband and I. We went to the hospital the previous day because I was feeling sick, like very, very sick. And when we got to the hospital, there was this long ass queue. So we had to wait all day. And when it was night time, say 10 p.m. ish, the doctor was finally free to see me. So I went into the doctor's office, and the moment I told him my symptoms, the doctor just dismissed everything and just said, "You have malaria. I'm going to prescribe some malaria drugs." And I was like, "Hold up, I don't think it's malaria, but even if it is, can we confirm that I'm not pregnant already?" And he was like, "Oh, pregnant. When was the last time you saw your period?" And yada yada. And I told him. Then he was like, "Oh, it could be that you're pregnant. That would mean I can't give you any malaria medication. Okay, let's do a test tomorrow. Can you come tomorrow?" Then he gave me paracetamol to ease the pain I was feeling in the moment. So when we got home, at that point I was just sure that it was pregnancy. Yeah, because my period was late and I had never felt that way before. I was just feeling nauseous and heavy, and I could just tell. So I couldn't sleep the whole night. And when it was morning, I ran to the pharmacy close to the house to get pregnancy test strips, which I used to confirm that I was pregnant. When I found out I was pregnant, dude, I was just in shock. Even though I kind of expected it, I was just in shock because I was like, wait, like this is real. I'm going to have a child, like a baby is going to grow inside of me. It was just too surreal, and it took me time before I was able to go call my husband to show him the result. So after that, we showered because it was early in the morning. So we showered and we went to the hospital to do like a proper test. And when they confirmed it, we were so happy. We called family members and everybody was excited. I was super excited, but I had the worst first trimester. I thought it was just going to be that initial sickness, but it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And the morning sickness, oof, it was crazy. I figured out early that the hospital I went to initially was not going to be the hospital I would give birth in, because I mean, something as serious as pregnancy, they misdiagnosed it for malaria. I'm like, what else are they going to misdiagnose? So I wasn't going to take any chances with my pregnancy and my life. So I decided to switch hospitals. It took a while before we were able to find a hospital. We prayed and everything, and then we found this hospital not too far from our home. And we went there and registered for antenatal. By this time, it was I was already in my second trimester, I think. Yeah, when I registered at the no, sorry, I was 12 weeks because you had to get to 12 weeks, I think, before you register for antenatal. So it was around that time that I went to the new hospital to register. Getting into my second trimester, I started to feel better. And I was happy. I was excited. I was getting myself back. I was glowing. I mean, I really handled pregnancy like a champ. Anyways, as I was getting to the end of second trimester, things started to change. I had gone to the hospital for my normal routine checkup, and after running the whole test that I usually do during my routine, the doctor confirmed that I had gestational diabetes. And I was like, ooh, gestational diabetes, what is that? So they explained it to me and told me that um, they would have to monitor. So the first thing they would have to do is to take like the glucose test, which is supposed to confirm if you actually have gestational diabetes. So the doctor said that I had to come back the next day and I would have to fast from 10 p.m. to morning, then come to the hospital very early in the morning so that they can run like a glucose test, which will confirm whether or not I truly have gestational diabetes or actual diabetes. When I returned home that day, I decided to do a deep research on gestational diabetes because I had never heard about gestational diabetes in my life before. And so after the whole research, I figured that having gestational diabetes meant that everything I had prayed against from the beginning of my pregnancy was going to happen. There were three specific things I prayed against. Number one being that I didn't want to have a big baby because I had heard stories about people giving birth to a big baby, the tear, the trauma, and I just didn't want to experience any of that. So I prayed against that. Number two was that I prayed against having complications of any kind. And number three being that I didn't want to have a C-section. Not because I have anything against it, just because I've had a surgery in the past and recovery was very difficult. So I just didn't want to experience another surgery again. So I just told God an easy birth, an easy natural birth was all I was praying for. So at the time I had now done the research, it was clear that my fears were going to turn to reality. And that night I couldn't sleep at all. So I just prayed through the night. I kept asking God to help me change the results. I told God that whatever that was, I just didn't care. Just give me what I want. This is all I've been praying for. Don't let my fears come to pass and all of that. So the next day I got to the hospital and they ran the tests. By the way, fasting blood sugar test is brutal. It is brutal. They kept pricking my thumbs. It was crazy. It was such a difficult time for me. In my head I was like, this is a test and I'm going to ace the test. So after the whole thing, the results came out and I went to the doctor and the doctor asked me to go see the gynecologist. I went to the gyne's office and she saw the results and she was like, this is serious and we can't let you go. We have to put you on admission immediately. I can't go home as well. She was like, you can't go home. I was like, okay, I need to go like tell my husband and prepare. They said there is no preparation here. You are going to be admitted right now. Call your husband to come meet you at the hospital. My husband couldn't come with me that particular day because he had a lot of work and a lot of meetings. He never missed any appointments before that. But on that particular day, he wasn't there. It took me like 10-20 minutes to call my husband and tell him that he needed to come to the hospital. My husband was surprised and he said he would be there in a minute, and truly he literally appeared in the hospital. So when he got to the hospital, the gynae explained everything to him and they started the process. So I was put on admission and they kept running tests. I cried my eyes out because the pricking was just too much. Come, take blood, take blood, take blood. At a point, I was just like, what is this? People want to finish my blood. So it was just crazy. And at the end of the day, I told myself that this is a test. I'm not going to give up. Yeah, I'm going to hold on to my faith. So I did just that. And the next day, I was discharged, and they told me to just watch my diet. They gave me some drugs to take. I went back home. When I got home, I thought about the whole thing. It was going to weigh me down. It weighed me down actually. I was just in so much pain. I felt like, what was the point of the whole thing? It just didn't make sense. But I already said I wasn't going to give up. We tried to work on my diet and just stay healthy, like try exercise. So I was hopeful that the next time I would go to the hospital, things would have changed. At this point, I was already in my third trimester, so I was really scared because I didn't want to have a big baby. I didn't want to do a C-section. I didn't want to have any complications whatsoever. So the fear was there, but I just didn't want to give up on God. I strongly believed that it was a test. I went to the hospital. I had fasted, I had prayed. I was like, this time around, things are going to change. But then I got to the hospital. I sat outside waiting for, after running the test, I was waiting for the result, and I was kabashing. And they said it was still there. The gynae also said that they wouldn't let me get to the full term of pregnancy, which is 40 weeks, unless I go into labor on my own before that time. Because if they let me get to the full term, the baby might be too big. And all of that was just so scary to me. We kept on going to check the baby's weight at every appointment, and it was just getting bigger and bigger. And it was just very confusing for me because I was actively praying, I was fasting before every appointment, and it just felt like my prayers were not being heard or something. And I was just devastated. But I kept holding on to God. I just kept praying that things are going to change before the time I go into labor. Around 37 weeks, I went to the hospital for my normal routine check, and we found out that the baby was already at 3.7 kg. Yeah, and they were like, if you're at 37 weeks and the baby is already this weight, then we can't let you get to 40 weeks because it is going to be super big. And that was where I just lost it because I was so close. And then they were like, it's either I for wait to go into labor myself between that time, which was 37 weeks and max 39 weeks, or I plan a C-section. But she advised that we do a C-section. So when we got back home that day, my husband and I spoke about it, and he was like, it's your decision to make. Whatever you decide, I'll support you. So I told him to give me time to think about it and pray about it. So I kept praying, and at a point I was fully convinced that it was truly a test. God just wants to see what I will do down to the last minute, what my decision will be, if it's to believe in Him or give in to my fears. I decided that I was going to have a natural birth. I came back, I told my husband about it. This is what I'm deciding. This is what my heart is telling me to do. This is what God is leading me towards, to have faith. So we went to the hospital and we told the gynae that we were going to have a natural birth. And then the gynae advised that we do an induction rather than wait for labor to happen, right? Because at the time I was now 38 weeks. So I picked a date like 38 weeks and just a few days. So I picked the date and we came back home to prepare. So a few days later, I was prepared. My mom was here, and my mom and my husband accompanied me to the hospital. We got to the hospital, the induction process started, and I was excited to meet my baby. I was very sure that it was the end of all the drama, because I was like, God, why are you testing me? I'm your child. I'm your baby girl. I'm not going anywhere. And it's me and you for life. You don't need to test me. You don't need to do all of this. So induction started. Nothing was happening. They said I was at 4 cm. From the day I arrived at the hospital to the next day, I was still at 4 cm. It's like, no wahala. I did my exercise. I was going everywhere. My mom was praying. I was praying. And the doctor came in the afternoon and said I was still at 4 cm. So at this point, I was already feeling some pain. So the doctor said that they would need to break my water to speed up the process. I said no problem. And oh, before that, they had to check how many centimeters dilated I was. I forgot that part. How did I forget that part? I can never forget. It was crazy pain. I didn't even know that there was going to be any pain worse than that. I thought that was it. That was the highest pain. But the doctor checked, and then that was when he decided that they were going to break my water. So they did break the water, and all hell was let loose. I was screaming down the hospital. I was in pain. At this point, it was already evening. I think like 5-ish, 5 p.m. I was screaming down the hospital, and the doctor kept saying, "You're at 4 cm, you're at 4 cm." So at this point, they told them to take me to the labor room. So by the time they took me to the labor room, did all the whole setting up and everything, it was already 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. And then the gynae said that he was going to come back by 8:30 to check that if I'm still at 4 cm, then we would have to do a C-section. When I heard 8:30 p.m., I calculated in my head that I was going to feel the pain I was feeling in that moment for 2 hours, 30 minutes more. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I kept screaming. I was begging for the doctor to come back. The doctor left. The pain was unbearable at this point. I felt like all the bones in my body were breaking at the same time. I just needed to be free. So I kept begging for them to come and do the CS. Nothing was happening. I was praying. At a point, I would, after crying and shouting and saying all manner of things that I don't remember, I would go back to start praying and praying and praying and reminding God of His promises and His word. And it was 8:30 finally, and the doctor came back and checked. And the moment he checked, he said the something something happened, and the baby's neck is going to be stuck if I try to push, or the baby's neck is going to, I can't remember, but something that needed emergency. And they said they needed to do an emergency C-section at that point. For me, I just wanted to be free from the pain. So I didn't even care what they were going to do at all. So I was taken to the theater, and I asked if my husband could join me there because I was kind of scared. But he said no, that he would have to stand by the door. I said no problem. And the process started, and they brought the baby out. Then they stitched me up and took me to the room. I was just happy that I was free from the whole pain. The next day I woke up and I was like back to my senses, and I asked my husband, well, where's the baby? And he said the baby is with the nurses, and my mom was also with the baby. Then my husband showed me a picture of her, and I just burst into tears because I was just so emotional. Like, I actually have a baby now. I was so happy, and I thought that that was the end of all of that drama. But from the hospital to the house, there was this voice in my head that I couldn't shake off. A voice saying, God is not real. If He was real, He would have heard your prayers. You fasted, you prayed, nothing happened, nothing changed. God is not real. I kept shaking off the thoughts, but it was just there. I prayed several times, like, get out of my head, get out of my head. But the voice was there. So it was so difficult after that to pray because every time I would pray, the voice would always say, "You're wasting your time. There is no God. You've seen that already. You've experienced what should tell you that God is not real. Why are you still praying?" At a point, it felt like I was going gaga because I would be praying and I would stop halfway in the prayer and start saying, "Stop it, stop it, stop saying those things. God is real, God is real. No, no, God is real." And I would realize that, oh, I was praying, like I was praying before. So because I didn't want anybody to see me going through that, I decided to hide to pray or like not pray at all. So when I'm alone in the room and I'm praying and I hear footsteps or something, I would quickly stop because I didn't want anybody to hear me arguing with a voice in my head before they'll say I'm not okay again, that I'm going crazy. So I didn't want any of that to happen. So I kind of stopped praying as much. Then a few weeks postpartum, I started having this severe pain whenever I tried to pee, and my one part of my belly, close to the place where they stitched, would start swelling. I called the hospital. I went in for a checkup at a point, and they said, "Oh, it's normal. You'll get better when it you start to heal. Like it would get better." So I had to go through a different kind of pain again from trying to pee. I was like, "God, is this not enough? Haven't I gone through so much already? Like, are you even there?" And it was at that point that I started to like listen to the voice, like, what if God is not real? Recovery was just so difficult that I just couldn't shake off the voice anymore, the voice saying that God is not real and that nobody was hearing my prayer and nobody was coming to save me and that I was all on my own. And it just messed with my head, it messed with everything. And I started to have postpartum depression. I was not happy. After that came a whole season of unbelief. I couldn't pray. I couldn't connect with my child. I was angry at my husband. I was angry at everybody. I was angry at myself. I was angry at God. I was angry at a lot of things. It got to a point I was like, nah, I don't like how I feel. I don't like what I see when I look in the mirror. I was even scared to look in the mirror because I just felt different. So one day I just forced myself. I started forcing myself to pray. I prayed that day. And then I went online later that day and then I saw someone talking about this Bible verse. I can't really remember the verse exactly, but I remember the words the person said. The person quoted Jesus saying, in this world you will have many troubles, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. That Bible verse just hit me different. I opened my Bible app and I read it over and over and over again till it sank. And I was like, wait, God never promised me a life of ease. So where did I learn that I was entitled to a life of ease, a life of happiness? And it just started to think that all this was a misconception, that being a Christian automatically meant that I was going to be exempt from trouble or from difficult situations. And that was the beginning of my healing. So I started praying, asked God for direction, asked God to open my eyes, open my ears, open my heart to understand what I needed to understand, what He was trying to teach me in that season. I realized that God was trying to teach me faith, what faith meant. That faith didn't mean that trouble was not going to come. Faith meant that God was going to be with me in that trouble and God was going to see me through. And seeing through does not mean jumping over the situation, it means going through the situation. And I was like, okay, okay. So I was just an entitled, spoiled Jesus baby. I took it as a mission to continue to force myself to read the Word of God, force myself to pray, and slowly and slowly and slowly, I began to understand fully everything that I went through, understand it from God's perspective rather than my own perspective. I was just dumbfounded. How was I thinking like this? I started to feel embarrassed that me that I thought that I was an obonge child of God, I didn't understand this much. Like I had this crazy misconception. I never thought that it would get to any point where I would doubt God in my entire life. Because me and God were like this. But then I was grateful to be able to learn again what God's intention for me truly is. And because of that, I was able to let go of all the hurt, all the pain, and every burden that I carried from that whole experience. Now that I think about it, I might have been, not might, I was ungrateful because it was actually God who was still with me during that C-section. It was God who was still with me during postpartum, but I just didn't see it at the time because of all the anger and all the doubts I was feeling. But I thank God today that I'm here. I thank God that I can talk about this story from this perspective, this point of view, the point of view of a child of God who went through a season of unbelief and came back even stronger. So I just want to use this opportunity to encourage anyone who is going through something similar to what I went through. If you're going through a season of unbelief, doubt, fear, just worry that God is not hearing your prayers, I just want to let you know that God never actually promised us a life of ease. What He promised was that He was going to be with us every step of the way. And don't give up. Even if you give up, don't worry, God will never give up on you. Whatever you're going through is temporary. And at the end of it all, it is to the glory of God. It is for your own edification. It is for your own growth. You're going to grow. You're going to be better, much more better than who you were before that situation came. So just have that confidence that God is with you. My biggest lesson from this whole story is that sometimes it may feel like you're drowning, but God is intentionally taking you through those depths so that you know that you are a good swimmer, so that you don't undermine your skills. And right now, the things I have learned from postpartum, pregnancy, everything, I feel like I'm a stronger and better Christian. I feel like I'm a more mature Christian. Yeah, there are things that I know now that I didn't know before. So I'm grateful for all of that experience. I'm healed now. I'm better. The voice in my head is gone. It has no place here because I believe in God. God is real. Heaven is real. I am now a better Christian, a better mom, a better wife, and just better in several aspects of my life, and I'm grateful for that. If you watched this video to this point, thank you so much. I'm truly grateful. We've come to the end of the video. I will see you in the next video. Stay blessed. Bye.